Yeah, I think so.
So in a live game, you saw him play the way he played and still question if he can do the same thing when he has the actual starters at his disposal. We saw it show up. The fact that he's not getting first team reps with the ones or the twos and still went out there and looked the way he did.
He's an accurate thrower, doesn't have a huge arm, moves okay, and when he's got to make big throws in the red zone, he's pretty damn good at it. That's my take. Yours.
My thing is, he says no reasonable person thinks Sanders will be fully ready to lead a team and consistently attack a complicated NFL defense 3 weeks from now. What about Dylan Gabriel? Has he shown?
I can't imagine there's many people that think Dylan Gabriel's a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. I don't care where they were drafted. And if the Browns are the one team that thinks that, then I'm going to suspect it's not true. They don't know what they're doing.
They've been on every quarterback evaluation for 30 years.
Right.
I never root against anybody.
Yeah.
But I'd be surprised if Dylan Gabriel's ever a legitimate starting quarterback for the Cleveland.
But I thought the guys did a really nice job of Shedeur and operating, the guys making plays. So, again, a ton to teach off of.
But where's the can't coming from when we just saw him do it? I know it's a small sample size. It's 3/4 of football. But everything you said he can't do, he just did. Matter of fact, he just did what we already saw him do at Jackson State. He just did what we saw him do at Colorado.
You won't believe what just happened in Cleveland. The Browns just made a decision that has Shannon Sharpe absolutely losing his mind. And honestly, I'm right there with him. Picture this. You've got a quarterback who just dominated in live game action, proving every doubter wrong, showing pinpoint accuracy and clutch performance in the red zone. But instead of celebrating this breakout performance, the coaching staff is still questioning whether he deserves the starting job. I'm talking about Shedeur Sanders, and what's happening to him right now is absolutely infuriating. The bias is so obvious it's painful to watch, and by the end of this video, you're going to see exactly why this situation represents everything wrong with NFL decision-making. Stick around because Shannon Sharpe's takedown of Kevin Stefanski is absolutely brutal, and the evidence I'm about to show you will blow your mind. What we're witnessing in Cleveland isn't just bad coaching, it's a masterclass in how organizational bias can blind you to elite talent sitting right in front of you. Shedeur Sanders has done everything asked of him and more. He's shown up in live game situations, displayed the accuracy and poise that made him a star at Colorado, and proven he can perform under pressure with limited resources. Yet somehow, Kevin Stefanski and the Browns organization continue to push Dylan Gabriel as their preferred option, despite Gabriel's consistently underwhelming performances. In this video, we're diving deep into this controversy that has the entire football world talking. We'll break down exactly what Shedeur accomplished in his limited opportunities, examine Dylan Gabriel's concerning pattern of inconsistency, and analyze the explosive reactions from Shannon Sharpe and other prominent voices who are calling out this obvious bias. Most importantly, we'll explore what this situation reveals about the Browns' decision-making process and why it could cost them their future. This isn't just about two quarterbacks competing. It's about recognizing talent versus perpetuating systemic problems that have plagued this organization for decades. Here's what makes this situation absolutely mind-boggling. Shedeur Sanders walked into a live NFL game with fourth and third string players around him and looked like a seasoned veteran. Think about that for a moment. This wasn't a controlled practice environment or a scrimmage against scout team players. This was real NFL action, with real consequences, real pressure, and real defensive schemes designed to expose weaknesses. What did Shedeur do? He was surgical. His accuracy was on point, hitting receivers in stride and placing balls exactly where they needed to be. When the game was on the line in the red zone, where quarterbacks are truly tested, he delivered clutch throws that demonstrated not just arm talent, but football IQ and composure that you simply can't teach. The most impressive part? He did all of this without the benefit of first-team reps, without the chemistry that comes from working with starting receivers, and without the protection schemes designed for the primary offense. Shannon Sharpe nailed it when he said, "You've seen what Shedeur can do when he represents the Browns in real games, and yet you're still doubting what he could do if given the starters." This is the fundamental question that exposes the entire controversy. If Shedeur can perform at this level with limited resources, what happens when you give him the full arsenal? What happens when he's working with receivers who know the system, with an offensive line that's been practicing together, with running backs who can execute the full playbook? The eye test doesn't lie. Shedeur moves in the pocket with purpose, not panic. His arm strength might not be elite, but his accuracy more than compensates. He understands leverage, timing, and how to manipulate defensive coverage. These are the intangibles that separate good quarterbacks from great ones, and Shedeur displayed all of them in his limited opportunity. But here's what really gets me fired up. The Browns coaching staff watched this performance and somehow came away questioning whether he's ready. They saw him operate under pressure, make smart decisions, and execute in crucial moments, yet they're still not convinced. This isn't about football evaluation. This is about preconceived notions and organizational bias that refuses to acknowledge what's happening right in front of them. The most damning part of this entire situation is that Shedeur has been proving doubters wrong his entire career. At Jackson State, he elevated a program and put them on the national map. At Colorado, he transformed a struggling team and made them competitive in one of the toughest conferences in college football. Now, in his first real NFL opportunity, he's shown the same poise, accuracy, and leadership that made him successful at every previous level. Yet somehow, Kevin Stefanski and the Browns organization are acting like they need to see more. More of what, exactly? More accurate throws? More composure under pressure? More clutch performances when the game matters? Because Shedeur has already delivered all of that, and if that's not enough to earn legitimate consideration for the starting job, then what is? Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Dillon Gabriel's performances have been nothing short of concerning, and the numbers don't lie. When you break down his training camp statistics, a troubling pattern emerges that should have every Browns fan questioning why this quarterback is even being considered for the starting role. Let's start with the most recent example that had everyone talking. During a crucial training session where all eyes were on Gabriel, with Shedeur sitting out and no pressure from competition, Gabriel completed just 11 out of 22 attempts. That's a 50% completion rate in a controlled environment against his own team's defense. Think about that for a moment. This wasn't a hostile road environment with 80,000 screaming fans. This wasn't against an elite defense game planning specifically to stop him. This was practice, and he couldn't even complete half of his passes. But if you thought that was just an off day, you'd be wrong. This is Dillon Gabriel's consistent output, and it gets worse. Go back to day 8 of training camp, arguably his most disastrous outing yet. Out of 14 attempts, Gabriel completed just 3 passes. 3! That means 11 passes were either incomplete, intercepted, or so far off target that receivers had no chance to make a play. 11 passes that were completely wasted opportunities. Here's what makes this even more alarming. These weren't difficult throws under pressure. These were routine NFL passes that any starting quarterback should be able to complete in his sleep. The defense wasn't doing anything exotic or complicated. They were running standard coverages and Gabriel couldn't read them. From the very first snap, it was clear that the defense had him figured out. They knew his tendencies, they understood his limitations, and they exploited them ruthlessly. The rhythm wasn't there. The awareness wasn't there. The precision that you need to succeed at the NFL level simply wasn't there. And as Gabriel continued to struggle, the contrast with Shedeur Sanders became even more glaring. While Shedeur was making smart decisions and accurate throws in live game action, Gabriel was missing routine passes in practice. What's most frustrating is that Gabriel was given every opportunity to succeed. When Shedeur sat out training sessions, Gabriel had the full attention of the coaching staff, the first team reps, and the chance to build chemistry with the starting receivers. This was his moment to step up and prove he belonged. Instead, he showed exactly why so many experts believe he'll never be a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL. Shannon Sharpe put it perfectly when he questioned the Browns' logic. if you're questioning Shedeur Sanders against Kenny Pickett, how can you be so sure Pickett will perform better? The same logic applies to Gabriel. If the Browns are so concerned about Shedeur's readiness, how can they ignore Gabriel's consistent struggles against much easier competition? The most damning indictment of Gabriel's performances is that they're not getting better, they're getting worse. This isn't a young quarterback working through growing pains or adjusting to a new system. This is a pattern of inconsistency and poor decision-making that suggests fundamental limitations that can't be coached away. Yet somehow, the Browns continue to view him as a viable option while questioning the quarterback who's actually producing results. The football world has spoken, and the message is crystal clear. The Browns are making a massive mistake. When you have respected voices like Shannon Sharpe and other prominent analysts all questioning the same decision, it's time to pay attention. This isn't just fan frustration or media speculation. This is legitimate football expertise calling out organizational incompetence. Shannon Sharpe didn't hold back when he tore into Kevin Stefanski's stance. His analysis was surgical and devastating. How do the Browns know Dillon Gabriel will be able to do what they're claiming Shedeur can't? This question cuts to the heart of the entire controversy. The Browns are making assumptions about Gabriel's capabilities based on hope rather than evidence, while simultaneously dismissing Shedeur's proven performance based on manufactured concerns. The consensus among major football voices is overwhelming. As one senior sports journalist put it, "I can't imagine there's many people that think Dillon Gabriel is a better quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. I don't care where they were drafted." If the Browns are the one team that thinks that, then I'm going to suspect it's not true. This isn't just one person's opinion. This represents the collective wisdom of people who evaluate quarterback talent for a living. What makes this situation even more damning is the historical context. The Browns have struggled with quarterback evaluation for 3 decades. They've consistently made poor decisions at the position, passing on talent and investing in players who couldn't deliver. Now, when they finally have a quarterback who's shown he can perform at the highest level, they're repeating the same mistakes that have kept them mediocre for generations. The bias is so obvious that it's become impossible to ignore. During his press conference, Kevin Stefanski focused entirely on what Shedeur supposedly can't do, while offering no specific praise for what he actually accomplished on the field. This is an objective evaluation. This is a coach who's already made up his mind and is looking for reasons to justify a predetermined conclusion. Shannon Sharpe identified this bias immediately, suggesting that pressure from higher up in the organization might be influencing Stefanski's decisions. This raises serious questions about whether football decisions are being made based on merit or other factors that have nothing to do with winning games. The most frustrating part is that the evidence is overwhelming. Shedeur has proven himself at every level: Jackson State, Colorado, and now in his limited NFL opportunities. He's shown accuracy, poise, leadership, and the ability to perform in clutch situations. Meanwhile, Gabriel has consistently struggled in much easier circumstances, showing fundamental limitations that suggest he's not ready for the NFL level. Yet somehow, the Browns continue to push Gabriel while holding Shedeur back. This isn't just bad evaluation, it's organizational malpractice. When the entire football world can see what you're missing, when respected analysts are calling out your decision-making, and when the evidence is staring you in the face, continuing down this path becomes inexcusable. The growing consensus is clear: Shedeur Sanders deserves his shot, and the Browns are making a historic mistake by not giving it to him. Here's the bottom line: what we're witnessing in Cleveland is bigger than just a quarterback competition. This is about organizational bias, flawed decision-making, and the refusal to acknowledge elite talent when it's staring you in the face. Shedeur Sanders has done everything possible to prove he belongs, from his dominant college career to his impressive NFL debut with limited resources. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel has consistently struggled in much easier circumstances, yet somehow remains the preferred option. Shannon Sharpe, OJ, and other respected voices have called this situation exactly what it is: a failure of leadership and evaluation. The evidence is overwhelming, the expert consensus is clear, and the bias is undeniable. Shedeur deserves his shot, and every day the Browns delay this decision is another day they're wasting elite talent and perpetuating the same mistakes that have kept them mediocre for decades. The question isn't whether Shedeur can succeed, he's already proven that. The question is whether the Browns will recognize what they have before it's too late. What do you think about this situation? Are the Browns making a historic mistake by not giving Shedeur Sanders the starting job he's earned? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing your perspectives on these controversial decisions. And if you want to see more breakdowns of NFL drama and questionable coaching decisions, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Trust me, there's plenty more where this came from, and you won't want to miss what happens next in this ongoing saga.